Hello, friends. My name is Kyle, and since you're listening to this, I thank you for coming this far. You're no doubt asking yourself at this time, is Useless Thoughts the most ridiculous idea for a podcast? And does this mean that we've finally run out of podcast ideas? And you may be correct on both accounts. After all, podcasts are where you usually come to be inspired, uplifted, and informed. But maybe we've hit our limit on those. That's where Useless Thoughts comes in to save the day. Allow me to explain. Imagine you're with your friends and you're having an in-depth conversation about whether a 5-gallon bucket of water would feel heavier than a 5-gallon bucket of that same water, except it's frozen. The conversation keeps going back and forth as you all prove that you're not very smart and know little to nothing about science, but the conversation is still outstanding. You continue to debate it vigorously, and then out of nowhere, someone in the group chimes in with, "Wait, why aren't we even talking about this? This is dumb." If that person drives you crazy, then this podcast is for you. Let me put it to you another way. Have you finally run out of creative responses to, "How are you doing today?" Or, "What are you majoring in college?" And "What do you want to do with your major after you graduate?" And are ready to end small talk forever? Then this podcast is for you. Do you ever have a seemingly brilliant thought that you say to someone, and their first response is, "Where in the world did that come from?" Then this podcast is for you. This show will be exactly what the title says. A place for useless thoughts where we discuss weird, random, and sometimes ridiculous things as if they're the most important topic in the world at the moment. Because what fun would life be if we didn't discuss pointless things? So you may ask, what are my goals with this podcast? One, it's somewhat therapeutic for me since I normally have very random thoughts and feel like I don't always have a platform to share them. After all, why keep all these useless thoughts stored in my head when I can come on here and share them with the world? But two, and probably more importantly, I want to give anyone listening to this some future conversation topics that you can have with your family and friends. Stop talking about the weather and politics and what do you do at your job, and let's talk about the real stuff. Some of the useless thoughts we'll discuss are funny, some may be more serious, and some won't make any kind of sense to you. But my main goal is for you to have new topics to bring up in your everyday conversations. I'll go ahead and give the disclaimer here that I can almost guarantee that I'm not the first person to think of anything discussed on this show. But I am the one that's putting them in the form of a podcast, so shout out to me. So again, if you want to be inspired or informed, this won't be the podcast for you. But if your favorite conversations are the ones at 2 o'clock in the morning, where you and your friends are talking about the weirdest things and talking about the most random topics, then this is the podcast for you. So go ahead and subscribe if you'd like, drop all the small talk, and let's do this.
Sitting on top of the world, I don't know if you heard, I'm living it up, yeah, I ain't gonna stop and I can't hear a word. Good vibes up in the air, and I got plenty to share, so come pick it up, there's tons to be got, and I'm spreading it everywhere. So call it luck and let it run amok. I'm telling your friends it's time to let the good times roll.
This is the Useless Thoughts Podcast, a place where no thought is too random and no topic is too pointless. Let's have some real conversation.
Oh,